It's good to see everyone.
It's good
Hi.
to see you as well. Thanks for being here.
You know, I mean, it's crazy because we finally get to know what happens in season 2 of School Spirits.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Sarah, my first question is, you know, from an acting, storytelling perspective, like, when you officially find out what's going to happen after that big cliffhanger, like, what's going through your mind, even before, you know, filming it, like getting those scripts, what's that like for you specifically?
It's so exciting.
It's very exciting.
I mean, we waited almost 2 years, and so did the audience, but to even get a script, we had no idea what was going to happen and where it was going to go. And within the first episode, so many of the questions you have ending season 1 are answered. And then you're like, okay, so we cleared that up, and then all of a sudden it's a whole other slew of, well, what the hell is going to happen now?
Yeah.
Yeah. They do a really good job of that.
Absolutely. Now, Josh, it's interesting, right? Because, you know, I don't want to go into big spoilers, but, like, your character is not the best guy ever. You know what I mean? We find that out.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing that a lot today.
Yeah, everybody
you know?
has said,
Everybody's
and
like,
Josh, you suck.
Yeah.
exactly. So Josh, tell us how evil you are.
But my question more is that script to screen journey, I think, is really from an acting perspective, when you see that kind of transformation, right? And that growth of that character. So what's that like for you, Josh, as an actor, kind of seeing everything in the scripts for School Spirits and then seeing it come to life on screen, so to speak?
It's very chewy as
Yeah.
It's a good word.
yeah, it's very you know, you really can sink your teeth into it because there's a lot of runway and there's a lot of backstory that we learn about for all the characters, and there's some that I knew about in advance or, you know, with different conversations I had with Megan and Nate, show creators. But it's really nice how Mr. Martin's storyline ties in with everybody else's. And, you know, we're catching him in the beginning in an emotional place that we have not seen him yet in the entire first season, because it's the first time he really, truly feels out of control. I think he does a really good job of trying to control the environment around him and the people around him, and think through everything. But really, from the get-go of season 2, we've never seen him like this, and he has to rely on instinct, and he might not be the most proficient as an instinct decision maker.
Oh, absolutely. Well said. Sarah, it's good to see you.
Hi.
And I wanted to kind of ask you, because I feel like, you know, from a viewer perspective, there's a lot to love of a show like this because there's so many elements at play. There's the kind of ghost supernatural component. There's the coming of age. There's the relationships and the kind of growth for the characters. I'm wondering, from your perspective, someone that's like working on the show, what do you think is really hitting stride with the audience? Is there an element of School Spirits that really stands out for you specifically? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you just said. I think there are so many characters from obviously these different time periods. There's a lot of people dealing with this, and there's kind of something for everyone. There's so many different storylines, and each one of us is going through our own journey. We have new characters, and they're all going through their own journey. Like, why are we here? Why are we stuck here, right? And I think everyone has to reckon with their own demons and their own past. So I think there's probably a character for everyone to relate to, if not everyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's really well said. And Nick, I do find it interesting, right? Because so much happens before you go to camera on something like School Spirits, right?
Yes.
You're kind of reuniting with the cast, you're talking to the showrunners, the directors, there's the preparation. So from an acting storyteller perspective, you can see it as two journeys, right? Before filming School Spirits and then after filming School Spirits. Or do you see it as one big journey with multiple steps in between? I'm curious about that.
Oh, gosh. You know, it's...
You hit the gym. That's like part of your
I go to the
process. You
gym
get to the
and
gym, it's
I
like really
just
gotta
get really ripped.
That's true.
Facts.
You know, it's so funny. It's yeah, you spend so much leading up to shooting, just thinking about it and reading the script and practicing your lines and talking about it with other people and going to the table reads, and then you shoot it and it's kind of just like it happens. Like you just are sort of living in it, and then you finish and you don't remember anything. Like truly, the day that I got back after we wrapped, I was like, did we just shoot a whole second season of a show? Like, it could not compute in my head because you're just in this insulated world. Yeah. But it is like, it's just so much fun. We just have a blast.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, you mentioned earlier how it feels like the second season we're given the same timeline, and you said something. You have the statistics on the number of sets.
Yes, so in season 1 we had 20 sets, and in season 2 we have over 100 sets. And so just the scope of what we're shooting in the second season is so ambitious and so much larger, but we were given the same amount of time to shoot, the same exact amount of production days.
It's crazy.
And maybe we got 2 extra in total.
Yeah, sure.
But
so it feels like a whirlwind. That doesn't make sense.
It's really, we were shooting a lot every day, and every scene is big and heavy and moving.
I needed like weeks of not seeing people after we shot.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to go to nature and like be really quiet.
Yeah, I went and stayed with my parents for
Yeah.
2 weeks and didn't talk.
Yeah.
But like
Local rat.
when you're on set too, you're on set. Like I'm a filmmaker as well. I'm
Yes.
realizing that when you're
Yeah.
there, you're there. Like
Yeah.
everything else is, there's no time, literally,
Right.
if you
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The show
Yeah.
must go on.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, for this season, there's some cool things that we didn't see a lot in season 1. Specifically, you know, there's certain characters have more kind of dialogue and interactions, right? Like Simon and Xavier and everything. What was something exclusively for season 2 that you enjoyed seeing that maybe you didn't see a lot of in season 1 specifically?
Ooh, I would say what you really didn't get to see at all was anything relating, and I'm really, you know, tiptoeing a line here, but anything related to Mr. Martin's relationship with Janet or how they interacted, their history. You didn't get any of that in the first season. You know, Janet was mentioned. I mean, I guess at the end of the first season, you saw them in the what's it called? The boiler room or whatever together. But you get a lot more of that. You really get to explore that a little bit more, and that's a really significant part of his storyline.
No, absolutely. And then last question before we wrap up. Sarah, I find it interesting, right? Because we talked about in the beginning of this interview about all the elements at play with school spirits, right? And there is kind of that, you know, underlying theme of the ghost, right? The creepiness, the spooky kind of component of it that I love. And I'm just wondering, because you've also worked in the genre of thriller and horror before, you know, with Texas Chainsaw franchise and everything. What's that like working in that genre at a time where there is a big kind of like popularity with like thriller and horror these days? Like, I'm just curious about it. Do you think about that at all? Like, I'm curious about that.
It's so funny because I really can't watch anything scary. Like if I watch a show and it's like lit really darkly, like I will have nightmares. So like I'm very not good at watching this stuff. And I think there's something so different when you're shooting something that maybe looks really scary later, but you see the facade of it all when you're in it, so you're not scared. Like, I think once shooting Texas Chainsaw, I was like actually scared because like someone jumped at me like to joke, but that wasn't funny because I'm scared of everything. But like here, I don't think I was ever scared. I think when we watch it, I'm like, oh my God, they made this really scary. But when you're doing it, you're just in your character in that moment, and you're not thinking about everything else. Like it's basically just the same as I would approach any like job, any role of just being like, these are the circumstances and this is real.
Absolutely. Yeah. My favorite thing about this show by a landslide is the fact that all the ghosts are from different kind of times and eras. That's like by far like my favorite thing. And I feel like you all do such an amazing job with the eras that you're in. So congratulations, seriously. It's so great to see. And I can't wait for people to see season 2 of School Spirits on Paramount Plus. So good to see you all. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.